There is a lie most people start hearing the moment they enter their 70s. It sounds reasonable, it sounds caring, and it destroys more men quietly than any disease. The lie is this: that living alone at your age is dangerous, that independence is a risk, that safety only exists when someone else takes over. At first, I believed it. After my wife passed away 7 years ago, the house felt too quiet. The silence had weight. And when my son suggested a nursing home, he wasn't trying to control me. He thought he was protecting me. Everyone did. That's when the doubt started, because what they called safety didn't feel like safety at all. It felt like the beginning of disappearance. Schedules, permissions, rules. A clean room that didn't belong to me. A life where decisions were made for me, not by me. I didn't move right away. I didn't argue. I listened. And the more I listened, the more something felt wrong. Not because I was incapable, not because I was confused, but because I was still able to wake up in my own kitchen, decide my own day, and take responsibility for myself. That raised a dangerous question. If I can still live alone, why am I being treated like someone who can't? Most people never stop to ask that. They assume dependence is the natural next step. They confuse being alone with being weak. And once that idea settles in your mind, the rest follows quickly. You stop deciding, you stop trying, you stop leading your own life. This is where many people cross a line without noticing, because the moment you give up your home, you don't just give up a building, you give up territory. And when a man gives up his territory, he doesn't retire, he becomes managed. At the time, I didn't have an answer yet. I only knew this: something important was at stake. And if I made the wrong move, I wouldn't lose comfort. I would lose myself. There is an entire industry built around one powerful assumption: that aging automatically means surrendering control. They call it professional care. They frame it as compassion. Sell it as the gold standard of safety. And most people never question it. I didn't either, at first. When you hear the same message enough times, it starts to sound reasonable. Spend more money, hire more help, let experts take over. That's how you stay safe, they say. That's how you avoid becoming a problem. That's how you do the responsible thing. So I tried it. I hired Maria, a part-time caregiver, for $4,000 a month. She was kind, efficient, professional. She did exactly what she was paid to do. But every morning, as I sat at my table, I felt something quietly draining away. I watched my life savings bleed out, while someone else handled tasks I was still capable of doing. Tasks I had simply stopped doing because it felt easier to let someone else take over. At the time, I didn't call it a mistake. I called it convenience. But convenience has a cost that isn't written on the invoice. When you stop doing for yourself, something shifts, not all at once, slowly, almost politely. You begin to wait. You begin to ask. You begin to hesitate before doing things that once felt natural. And without realizing it, you start outsourcing parts of your life that should never be outsourced. That's when I began to wonder what I was really paying for. Because every meal cooked by someone else, every errand handled for me, every bill organized on my behalf wasn't just a service. It was a quiet transfer of responsibility, a transfer of agency. And once agency leaves your hands, it rarely comes back on its own. I even tested the idea of maximum safety. I spent a month inside a nursing home. It looked clean, orderly, calm. But behind that calm was something unsettling. Rules, permissions, schedules that weren't mine. Lights out when they said, doors closed when they decided. I wasn't unsafe, but I wasn't free either. They called it care. It felt like management. That experience forced a realization I hadn't expected. If being taken care of means surrendering the ability to decide when you sleep, when you walk, or where you go, then the word care has lost its meaning. Because care that removes choice doesn't protect dignity. It replaces it. A nursing home doesn't begin with weakness. It begins with the belief that you no longer need to try. You can still walk, still think, still manage your affairs. Then being placed in an institution doesn't preserve you. It slowly reduces you. The services they offer are real, but they are also interchangeable. What's being purchased isn't strength or purpose, it's compliance. At some point, I realized that the aches in my shoulder and the tremor in my hands weren't warnings that I needed to leave my home. They were reminders that I needed to adapt, not abdicate, to move differently, to pace myself, to respect my limits without surrendering my role. That's when my house stopped feeling like a place where I was stuck. It started feeling like something else entirely. A structure I was responsible for, a space that required my attention, a territory that responded to my effort. Maintaining my own space became proof, not to others but to myself, that I was still participating in my own life, that I wasn't waiting to be handled, that I hadn't accepted the narrative that aging automatically means helplessness. But here's the part most people misunderstand. Staying independent isn't only about what you do for yourself, because no one stays free alone forever. And the real key to remaining in your home, the part that doesn't appear on any brochure or pricing sheet, has nothing to do with services, equipment, or policies. It has everything to do with usefulness. Here is the truth no one tells you when they talk about aging, safety, or independence. The real reason you don't need a nursing home if you can live alone has nothing to do with strength, money, or health. It has to do with usefulness. Most people believe nursing homes are the result of physical decline. They're wrong. They are the result of social disappearance. People don't end up in facilities because they suddenly can't live alone. They end up there because the world no longer needs them. And once you are no longer needed, you become easy to relocate. That's the system no one explains. Most people my age slowly withdraw. They stop engaging. They stop offering. They sit on their porches and watch life move forward without them. Not because they want to, but because no one asks them to matter anymore. That is how independence quietly dies. Not through illness, but through irrelevance. To stay free, you don't need to be stronger. You need to be useful. I didn't understand this at first. I thought independence was about managing everything alone. It isn't. Independence is about remaining embedded in the lives of others in a way that makes you difficult to remove. I discovered this by accident. I was sitting in the park one afternoon when I noticed my neighbour Sarah struggling, rushing, stressed, trying to balance her job and her 6-year-old daughter Emma. I didn't step in because I was lonely. I stepped in because I saw a gap. So I offered. I started picking Emma up from school every day. That single decision changed everything. Overnight, I stopped being the old man in 4 billions. I became infrastructure. I became reliability. I became the one thing Sarah couldn't replace without stress. And once that happened, something remarkable followed. I didn't need to ask for help anymore. Sarah brings me dinner most nights, not out of obligation, but gratitude. Her husband fixes things around my house and carries my groceries because I'm part of their daily rhythm, not a charity case, not a burden, a contributor. This is the part the system doesn't want you to understand. You don't replace paid care with independence. You replace paid care with relationships. Cold transactions are fragile. The moment the money stops, the service disappears. But human bonds don't work that way. When you matter to someone's daily life, you become protected by something far stronger than contracts. If you can live alone, you have the rarest asset left in modern society: availability and wisdom. Young families are drowning in responsibility. They don't need another service. They need stability. They need someone who shows up. When you pick up a child, listen to a neighbor, or solve a small problem for someone else, you aren't killing time. You are anchoring yourself into a network that will not let you fall. A nurse is present because they are paid. A neighbor is present because you matter. That difference determines where you live at 75. This is the real economy of aging, a shadow economy that doesn't appear on any balance sheet. I spend almost nothing on care today, not because I'm lucky, but because I invested early in usefulness. My independence isn't isolation. It's high-value contribution. As long as you are useful to at least one person, you are indispensable. And as long as you are indispensable, no one can quietly move you into a room and call it care. This is how you stay free. not by resisting the system, but by making yourself too valuable to remove. Here is the final truth, and it is uncomfortable. If you can live alone, you are not safe. You are temporarily sovereign, and sovereignty is something you either defend or slowly lose without noticing. The world does not take independence in one dramatic moment. It erodes it quietly, through convenience, through concern, through policies that sound reasonable. One missed decision, one small surrender, one time you let someone else handle it for you. That's how the door closes. So, if you are winning right now, understand this. Winning is not a permanent state. It is a position you must actively hold. That means you must treat your health like a business asset, not a comfort issue. Your ability to walk, to think clearly, to move through your day without supervision is the only thing standing between your front door and an institution's rules. The moment your body becomes negotiable, your autonomy follows. Movement is no longer exercise. Learning is no longer curiosity. Both are defense mechanisms. Every walk you take, every new skill you attempt, every habit you protect is a vote against being managed. Second, and this is where most people fail, you must remain the decision maker of your own life. The moment decisions are made for you instead of with you, your role changes. You stop being a person and become a responsibility. That transition is subtle, but it is irreversible once it completes. Living alone is not proof of independence. Daily decision making is making your own tea, paying your own bills, choosing your own schedule, offering your time to others. These are not trivial acts. They are signals to your family, to your doctors, to the system that you are still in command, and command is respected. I am 75 years old. I live alone, and I am not free because no one helps me. I am free because my presence matters. I am woven into my neighborhood not as someone to be protected, but as someone relied upon. While others wait for assistance, I am expected. While others are being checked on, I am being counted on. That difference determines where you wake up every morning. If you are watching this and you still have your independence, understand this clearly. It is not something to admire. It is something to use. Independence that is not invested becomes invisible. And invisible people are easy to relocate. Build your tribe now. Offer value now. Make yourself structurally necessary in at least one other person's life. Because the strongest protection against being placed somewhere is being needed where you are. Your house is not just a building, it is a boundary. And boundaries only hold if you defend them. If this message unsettled you, good. That means you're still paying attention. If it clarified something you felt but never named, then stay here, subscribe. We are not building comfort on this channel. We are building control in the final chapter of life. Before you go, answer this honestly in the comments. Not for me, but for yourself. What are you doing this week to make sure no one can decide your life for you? Because you are not just aging. You are either holding the line or quietly stepping back. Choose carefully.